Alright, y'all, here's a recap of the World Championship, my appearance, and you're gonna see this is actually kind of really hard for me to watch because, yeah, I didn't really like my showing. I think I could have done better in quite a few posing things, and just the package that I brought just wasn't my overall best in my opinion. I think I looked better at Battle of the Bay. But let's get off to it. So first off, like you can see, pretty crowded, and they put me in the middle. And then you look at my face; it's like not really comfortable and relaxed. I look like super tense. And then you're gonna see in a second where I'm kind of over flexing and just being really too rigid and not kind of like enjoying the time up there. I was, but that's what it appears like, and you want to look as relaxed as possible. Like if you look on the far left, 182, who won the overall class, he looks super poised, and then you see Ural over here on the far right. He got second place. So those two guys, right? They're like, they look like seasoned pros. For me here, if you look, I'm pushing my hips out way too much, so it should be like the guy behind me is like leaning forward, I'm leaning back, right? So if you can see, like my midline is, my chest is tilted back and my hips are pushed forward. It's a bad habit that I have, and I need to correct it. Coming to the back poses, this is, my strongest body part, my strongest area is the back shots, and so I'm most comfortable there. And then here again, you're going to see me push kind of my hips a little bit forward, as you can see that, and I'm really probably squeezing a lot harder than I needed to. It should be a little bit more relaxed and poised, but again, these are just like learning things, and this is probably why it's taken so long for me to make this video. You can see, like, yeah, my face is grimacing almost. It's not smiling, not just neutral. And they keep me in the middle for a long time, which is unusual because there's so many guys that stand out from this front shot, from like my front shot, which is super weak. They keep on moving, probably who they already have picked out, right? First, second, third kind of area. I'm not anywhere near that contention, right? So they move me quickly out and to the end, kind of where I stay for the remainder of this lineup that you'll see. And this is a pretty long video, but anyway, so that's kind of how they do things, right? You move closer to the middle, the more likely you are going to place in the top three, typically, right? If you spend time there. Not always the case, but typically the case. And you can see I'm next to the world champ, right? So he is in the kind of like lighter red trunks, or 192, and then I just get moved to the very end, right? So now I'm on the far out, right? So usually that's not a very good, you don't want to be there. You want to move in the middle as much as possible. So they have some rearranging. I'm going to speed this up because I think they're not going to call it for a second. Here we go. Oh, it's not going to let me speed it up. Let's see. I don't know I forgot what's happening over here. And usually, right, you want to kind of stay flexed as much as possible throughout the time, but they had us up here, I want to say for almost 20, it's 18-ish minutes, so nearly 20 minutes. So another thing is having the endurance in order to stay in a posed position. Which this isn't here nor there, but I did have an injury on my my tibia. My tibialis was really flared up for the couple of weeks since the mayhem. I kind of overdid it in way too many steps. Anyway, so that's beside the point. But here we go. So I think this is the section or start where they move me in at some point because of my back development. And at the time I already knew, like I saw the guys backstage, and I don't know if whether this is something you should be thinking or not, but you can see your competition. You're like, man, they look great, and I know how my front, especially from the Mayhem, how my front presents, and it's just an area that I need a lot of work on. And frankly, I need a lot of work on a lot of places, but definitely in the front development. Shoulders, chest, and abs for sure, arms as well. But let's see, we've got another movement. So this fella to my right, I want to say was from the UAE. And then I believe the fella in the blue trunks was from Poland. And I'm sorry I can't remember their names, but they were really nice guys. Got to chat with them a little bit. So they flew all the way out to the United States. Come compete. I think 32 countries were represented at this competition. The guy who won this class, the lightweight pros, was from France. And the second place winner was originally from California but lives in Canada. So it was like a pretty cool representation around like internationally with competitors and whatnot. Just something about this back pose for me. You see a lot of these guys push their glutes in, and I think that for me, as far as glute development and best presentation, it looked a little bit better for me to push them out. I wasn't as peeled, and I don't have the glutes that these other guys do in order to get striated, so it's kind of one of those play to your advantages things. So it's another area that I'm working on this off season. But you see they move me in 1, 2, and I think they're going to move me in one more, I believe, which is again a good indicator that at least from the rear, the posing it can stack up to some of the top competitors in this class at least. Let's see, yeah. So they move me one more time, and now world champ is in the middle. I think the guy in the green got 4th. I believe the guy in the black trunks on the end here got 3rd. And then, of course, like I said, the guy who won the class is in the middle. So here we go again. My hips are being pushed forward, which I really shouldn't. If you can see, everyone's hips are kind of twisted and towards the back, and mine are being pushed out, and I'm leaning back. Super bad habit that I just picked the world championships to display my physique again that way. But it is what it is. You can see from the front, right away, the ab development pokes out, and I do think that as far as like leanness, I could be leaner, but I also think that there was something going on with my lower abs as far as like water and maybe stress was holding some water, or was causing me to hold some water there for some reason. Perhaps my injury, or just like me not being relaxed and just like mellow enough. Who knows? Here we go, front double bi. So quad development, kind of on par, especially with Ural over here on my left, who got 2nd. Similar, but I mean, he blows the upper body out of the water for me, like comparison to me. Here we had a little mix up. They kept on calling the numbers, and I think people didn't know what number they were, and they wanted them to keep moving around. So yeah, edited some of that out so they can make sure and get to the right spot. Here we go. All right, so you've got them rearranging how they want it to be done, but let's see. So you got 1 and 2, first and second place to my left, and then we've got Edsel. I'm probably, hopefully, pronouncing your name right. He's from Mexico, super nice guy as well. But yeah, so he and I think switch a few times, and his chest development's insane. Power lifter. Talked to him a little bit on Instagram. But yeah, I mean, he came from Mexico, so I think we had someone from each, Canada, Mexico, United States, and then, like I said, some from Europe as well. Let's see, side pose, not bad. I think I hang decently. I mean, not the best. Obviously, my chest needs some work. The guys around me have much better chest development, but you know, quads and hams are okay. Glutes could use some work as well on that side, but we're gonna get there this off season for sure. And back to the back posing. So here we go. Me next to world champ. His hamstrings are outrageous. Definitely way more detail, and of course the glutes also. But as far as back, I think that it was kind of within a shooting distance, I should say. It's not too crazy off. So those are things I'm going to work on. And I think also maybe if I could have held my hamstrings a little bit more tightened, you could see a little bit more detail than what I was showing. But let's see. I just keep moving us around, and yeah, this is pretty much where I end up the rest of the show. Got rear lat spread here. You can see my lats are not a little, but a lot higher. They attach higher, and I need this kind of like oblique and lower spinal erector development to kind of make that area just stand out and be more detailed as well. We got Frank. All right, Frank is from Cali. He's awesome. He's also Team 3DMJ, and he was what I believe probably the most shredded person on that stage. He is just absolutely diced to the socks. Incredible. And yeah, I mean, definitely learned a few things that he was telling me about, kind of like how he dialed it in and just played around the whole prep as far as like making sure that he knew what combinations of foods and like how much to kind of get him to get the most like tight and peeled look on stage, and to not only have that but also be full, because that's kind of the dream of all the bodybuilders, right? You want to be full and also detailed. So usually kind of leans one side to the other. You can see in that pose where I do have I mean, loose skin perhaps, but I really think it had some water, maybe some extra fat to lose. But I feel, and I've seen my pictures from Battle of the Bay, and my midsection was tighter. So that's why I keep saying there was something going on there that was causing me to have that little pooch, or the ring around my belly button, versus actually it being adipose tissue. So let's see here. Still got quite some time left for this video. It's got another 5 minutes. And yeah, they decided to leave us, I think, switch. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm probably going to be quiet for the rest of this video just so you guys can enjoy it. Not much else to say other than as far as like this presentation goes, is this year, this 2025 was, I turned pro, and it's a whole nother ballgame. I said I was going to be quiet, but I guess this would be good filler for the end, not necessarily talk about the placings. As far as like, if you're curious, I got 8th out of 9th for this Worlds competition. And yeah, I mean, it was not what I wanted, obviously, but kind of going back to what I was talking about is like, I turned pro this season. I didn't really have an expectation to turn pro. Last year I competed in the Muscle Mayhem. I mean, not the Muscle Mayhem, the Monster Mash, and got 3rd as an amateur there out in Boston. And I knew I could bring a better package. I kind of screwed the pooch by trying to do too much at the same time. I was also trying to get ready for a High Rocks competition, and that just wasn't wasn't smart to try and do that. And then I also I made a huge error, and I ate a good serving of rotisserie chicken the day before my competition. So just, not, it's just a bonehead move up and down. Anyway, 2025 ended up hiring Jeff Alberts, 3D Team 3DMJ, to help me out this season. Something I should have done a long time ago. If you watch my other videos, you follow me on Instagram, you already know that I'm a huge fan. And yeah, I really do owe a lot of what I was able to bring this year to his mentorship and coaching. So huge thanks there. But yeah, so Battle of the Bay was my first WNBF competition for this year in San Francisco, which Frank, who was on the screen a little bit earlier, he's actually a promoter for that show, and that's where I turned pro. So as a pro, you have to compete in another show in order to be able to claim your pro status, right? So I was already planning to compete at the Muscle Mayhem, and as an amateur, that was already in the plans, like regardless. And now I had to compete as a pro, and so went out there and did that, and I ended up getting last place in that competition. So my first pro showing was actually sorry about that technical difficulties, y'all. Back at it, but I was just wrapping up my recap of the Mayhem. Like I said, didn't go as expected, but I got to compete with an awesome set of guys from the Team 3DMJ. So I had an awesome experience there. Just overall, Frank was with me, Dr. Eric Helms, Alberto. All of us competed on the same stage, which is something that it's like, to me, like historical. It's just crazy that it was my first pro competition. I got to compete with all of them, and yeah, I mean, an awesome time. And this whole season was amazing, and it's just taken a lot to process, and it's lit another fire that I didn't know was there for this off season. So I'm excited to get I'm already started on it and see what I can bring to stage in a couple of years, and maybe be back at a world's competition. But thanks for watching, y'all. See you around.